Welcome to Catalyse Virtual, the Edutech Special. Education technology, which for many years has been waiting for their moment in the sun, has arrived. Today, when everyone is boxed at home, working and even learning from home, this moment couldn't have come better for them. And exactly for that reason, we have three people from the education technology or the edtech sector, as we call it, to help us understand how are they making hay in the sun, taking the best of this opportunity and converting from potential clients to consumers. Welcome Divya, who represents Fliplearn, Charu from Thirdflix, which has a product called Practically, and we'll practically understand everything around it. And Arjun Mohan, who represents Upgrad, someone who really started his CEO position from home. And that will be a great experience, I'm sure. Arjun, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
So at the very start, I'd like to say this, that all of you have been working very, very hard to help your potential clients and consumers and parents understand that online education is possible. Qualitative online education is the future. With lockdown and the pandemic spreading, that future is now. It's here, very much present. Since this has become a great opportunity and a manna from heaven, in a sense, how have you changed your strategy? Because till now, if you were trying to convince that, hey, online education is good, today maybe you're figuring out there's so many players in online education. What is going to be my strategy or the differentiated offering that I have?
One immediate change that happened, Deepak, for us was we were initially playing a lot of B2C, okay, directly reaching out, and immediately our segment changed to a B2B full solution because we had the product. But till that time, schools never understood to fully move into an online and offline because children are coming. But I think that opened up as a huge market in terms of, reaching out, doing endless webinars, doing about 10 demo webinars every day, hosting it, getting so many schools to attend, understand what the product is, see what they would like to adopt, models that they could adopt at this point of time. Because it's not easy being a school at this point of time. You're not getting any fees. You have to look at your resources. You have to continue to work and engage, still pay your teachers. So there are challenges across the board that everybody is working. So I think for us, there was a huge surge on the B2B segment that happened, and that helped us, from a captive audience point of view.
If you know your customer and if you keep watching them closely, understanding how their needs, aspirations, behavior, fears, etc., are changing, and try to figure out a solution which will cater to all that, then you always win in the market. So number one is, I saw that there was a surge in the consumers or potential consumers. Earlier, we had to spend a lot of money expanding your top of the funnel, convincing people that online is a thing. Now, suddenly, there were a lot of people who were fence-sitting, who would have otherwise preferred an offline learning mechanism, coming and checking out what this is, right? So rather than spending money bringing them to our product, whether it's the app or the website, suddenly you had all these people. And they were looking to try out before committing money.
Does sampling free work in edtech?
So the only way to do it, and this is what I've understood, is that if you are giving it for free, then there has to be extremely good follow-up, both in the form of online follow-up and in the form of offline follow-up through a trained group of sales team who will constantly get in touch with the learners and tell them that, hey, you are just seeing the tip of the iceberg now. You're already enjoying it. Why don't you look at the next step? That's the model which works in India. So because I have seen it, when we did this free courses also, what we ensured is that we always treated these as leads. And we had a very good backend system where we tracked the journey of these leads. When the leads reached a particular stage, the salespeople came in and started converting those leads. I'm seeing good conversion. So I ended up creating a new marketing channel to acquire my users for free.
what demonetization did for fintech is what this pandemic has done for edtech companies, right? Fortunately or unfortunately, the flip has happened where we were going to the physical classrooms, right, and delivering our product there to then drive engagement from there to the student and the parent for quick conversions. So traditionally in a B2C, if the conversion is anywhere between 2 to 8%, roughly sitting, average 5 to 7% is a sweet spot. Our conversions were much higher, up to 20%, because our engagement was driven by the influencer, who's the teacher, and the teacher is actually gaining immense value out of the product. So now getting into the physical classroom was suddenly, it wasn't even a choice. So we had to quickly change our strategy and stand up a full virtual classroom solution, right, which is now replacing a lot of communication tools, which teachers have quickly jumped onto, right? So now communication tool is very different than a teaching tool. So what we brought to the market now within all this pandemic is a teaching tool, which is really useful for a teacher to teach, just like a physical classroom, with not just how you prepare to enter a physical classroom. Now you prepare to get into a virtual classroom. So you have a lot of learning resources, videos, a lot of ebooks, presentations. You can upload your presentations. You can do a lot within this virtual classroom before you start teaching, right? And you are not doing screen sharing, whereas a lot of bandwidth issues, as you mentioned, will come into the picture. What we are doing is a stream share. So your session is essentially running in the server, and that's where we are gaining a lot of traction, where teachers are saying this is like amazing, right? You're actually showing the same AV content, but the student feels as if he's not on a virtual classroom. He's actually has a dedicated stream from the server.
What are the key 2 or 3 concerns that a student, and especially the ones that you cater to, have before signing up for courses like this, or even punching in the credit card number?
The TG we are all talking to, the IT industry, the BFSI, to a large extent, these are the people who did not get affected. The segments which got affected was retail, manufacturing, real estate, so on and so forth. But still there is a lot of uncertainty in their minds. They are seeing their friends getting into trouble. They're seeing that companies are not clear on what will be the next strategy, things like that. So all of these people now is in a situation wherein they have time at their hand, liquidity at their hand, because they've not been spending for the last 2 months. They are actually in a very good position to do that course or to do that higher studies, which they always wanted to do. But they are taking time to decide because of the whole question of uncertainty. I don't know what will happen. What is the right thing to do? I want to upskill myself, but should I be spending so much of money on myself now? And I don't know what's going to happen. So what I'm observing is that the sales cycle have become longer. The pitches needs to be changed. There has to be features which we had to add to our product, like the whole thing about how would we help as a grad these people after the course is over on career services. How will I help in placement? And it was always there, but it is more about more questions get asked about those things now.
See, as far as K-12 is concerned, Deepak, people know it's going to be a Phygital solution. You can't pack 50 kids in the class even when school's open. You'll have to maintain social distancing, how the class will have to come in. So it's going to be a different world. You will need an online solution to continue to work with.
Another issue is that K-12 has been the slowest in the technology adoption so far, unlike Arjun's market segment, right? Which is already, and some of them are already, graduates, engineers who are looking to upskill themselves, which is much different than the K-12 segment, which is just holding on to breaks, that हमें technology use करनी होना पड़ जाए, right? So that is the segment we are dealing with, both Divya and I, where they want to use it. There is propensity towards getting online, but they have just been holding on to their traditional modes of teaching and learning, right? So now that is gone. I don't have to any longer convince somebody that, download an app or this is something, online it is real. I mean, everybody knows it. There's been a huge sentiment shift that they want to know more. They want to know whether your solution, okay, this much is fine, whether they can do that also, that one thing that the other solution offers. So the questions have changed. So that shift we are seeing in K to 12 because they have not asked all these questions so far so long, right?
They've been late to the party and now they're suddenly accelerated pace.
Yes.
They already, yeah. So they already land out, right?
Right.
High already.
But what does this do to the way you market your products? Does that change substantially from here on then?
Communication has changed a lot after the COVID situation started. A lot of companies like us, where the B2C communication was predominantly on TV, has now gone into digital. I mean, most of us are a digital first communication system now, and simply the reason being that on TV, sports is not there. No new GECs are getting, I mean, the SOPs in the GECs are getting created. So there's no new content for the customers to consume now. News, yes, the TRPs are going up, but how much will you see these depressing things, right? So you are also not reaching a customer in the right state of mind. So marketing, especially acquisition, has moved predominantly onto digital space. Not only about performance marketing, I'm talking about branding also. So earlier we used to have this Raho Ambitious campaign, which was predominantly a TV campaign. When lockdown started, we moved into the second version of it, wherein we started talking to the same aspirational customer, the same guy who wants to go ahead in his life and who is frustrated because he's in his home. He's always thinking about going out. So we created this whole branding campaign online where we said "Aage ki soch." The same person is saying that think about the future and don't think about going out. "Aage ki soch, bahar ki mat soch." So what's happening is that this TG we are talking about, all of them are sitting online. And the data, the amount of data you're generating from all these things is humongous. You need better targeting mechanisms. You need better profiling mechanisms. Your customer profiles has to be built out with a lot more of data and information. And hence data science and tech is playing an increasingly important role. Earlier, things which were done by Google are being done by individuals in the marketing team now. Everyone has to know how to code. Everyone has to know who are those target customers and how do I build those profiles so that my targeting works better. On the lead side also, what happens is you generate too many leads and you don't have enough people to reach out to. How do you prioritize it? What should be your algorithm to score the leads? Which are those leads which have to be given to a particular type of salesperson? What are the leads wherein you will give the right kind of discounts? Which person will you select for your course? And what is his probability of landing a job through the partners have got? The questions become very complex. It's no longer that star salesperson who knew 100 types of customers and hence could place it by seeing the nature of the lead. That's all gone. It's a lot of data crunching today.
Charu, what's been your experience? Have you ever used influencer marketing?
Right, referenceability is huge in K to 12 segment, right? And the word gets out real quickly in K to 12. Trust me. If there is a great solution and a great product you have, these teachers are interconnected. Like I live in Hyderabad, so I know Andhra Pradesh teachers are all over India. Right, I think we supply the most amount of teachers across India, and the word gets out really well. They are, trust me, there are teacher groups, academicians, WhatsApp groups, and it just works. If you have a great product, we've seen a huge inbound traction. Actually, for a company like ours, where our budgets are very limited, we need that. We need those inbound traction because the conversion on an inbound traction is more than 60 to 70% in a product like ours, right? So the influencers, we've not got to budgets where we can hire Shah Rukh Khans of the world, but definitely, we are getting there slowly. So influencer for us today is the parent and the student.
Shah Rukh Khan is the cue for me to go to Arjun back because his former company obviously used it to the hilt. But does it really work, Arjun? Using celebrities as influencers?
It works. And I am a person who was a non-believer and I got converted after seeing the response of it. So Byju's at that time was a brand which was pretty much known in South India. The whole logic or the concept was to take it into a pan-India level by bringing in a face who has got that credibility. And the reason why at that time I went with Shah Rukh Khan was because he had, I mean, not because he has got anything associated with education or learning, because he is always known as a doting dad. So that's why that was the whole thing there. And if you see the ad also, at the first ad which I worked on, I kind of ensured that the brand and the kids were the hero and not SRK. So SRK was just presenting and introducing the brand, and it was all about kids. So it really works if you use it well, because these are people with, I mean, unbelievable followers. You get that 10 seconds of attention of anyone if you show their face, but you have to show it the right way. There's also a lot of clutter. So
But
you need
at what stage of the brand does one use?
Yeah, very, very, very good question. So it's so in business we call it as the journey from 50 million to 250 million, right? So you, with the brand promise and with the product, right? If you do it right, there is a group of customers who will adopt it. They'll be happy. They'll tell their friends. So one way to do is you keep on adding such customers. Every level you add it, there are multiple ways of it. That's the standard slow growth process. You grow, no doubt about it, but you take time. The second way is to go from that 50 to 250 in no time. For that, you need a credible face, someone who can carry the brand and is trusted by large swaths of the TG. So even the TG, which may not have been your standard TG, becomes converted. You call it as the core TG and the peripheral TG idea. The peripheral TG also brings onto it. Of course, it has to go with a lot of changes. You have to make product changes. You have to make it more appealing for them. It's not just getting one person there and doing it.
That's an interesting point. If sorry to cut you, because you run the risk of overselling, overpromising, and under-delivering if you don't make changes in your product.
Absolutely.
So how does one handle this, right? Because you have made a product for a particular reason. Now you're re-engineering your product because you're using an influencer, or
no? The decision is about expanding your teaching. The decision is that, see, I have built a product, seeing a group of people, I'm catering to them well. They're great. They're happy. That's a micro teaching, right? Now you're saying that I want to expand and I would go to similar people, but they will have some different aspirations and they may need a vehicle, right? So that is and the reason why I'm saying that this should come in the journey or the growth journey of a brand is because when you use it too early, right, then the brand you're using or the personality you're using overshadows your brand. It will easily become, so for instance, let's say SRK example we are using, it will become SRK ka app, Shah Rukh Khan wala app. Now for an education company, that's not really the right metric to have. So you have to build your propensity. I mean, you have to build a certain level of brand equity, a certain level of brand reach, certain understanding of the product with your TG. And then you come to the next group of people who may not be your original adopters, but you can get to with changes. So one of the issues I faced was when I went into the Hindi heartlands with this product and with SRK, I saw that a lot of people were not comfortable with the English language we are using in the product. So then in no time, we had to create a version of the product in English, which is what they are exposed to. Not even pure Hindi, English. They are very comfortable with that. So it's more like, as I told in the beginning also, right? It's just about looking at your consumer all the time. Look at your customer. What is he doing? What does he want? And then take decisions around it. If you want to grow fast, this is one way to do it.
I wanted to understand, when one tries to offer multi-language, what are the key learnings, 2 or 3 things you could tell us that one needs to bear in mind? Because I'm sure it comes at a challenge, but how do you figure that out?
I think, you need to see which market you're focusing on. You know, something that Ajit said, as a company, you have to understand who is your target audience you want to go to. Okay. So for us at Fliplearn, we were like, okay, we want to go to private schools first. Okay. So we'll go English medium. majority of the country will get addressed. And then when you go regional and state boards, there'll be a lot of people who will ask you that, do you have regional languages, or do you have it in Hindi, Kannada, and this thing. So if you're looking at, I think it will come from more your business strategy, Deepak.
Right. Charu, does it? Yeah, in fact, your solutions, are they language agnostic?
See, experiences is something that has to be, I would say, language agnostic, right? Because you're experiencing it. So that is something been always at the back of our head, that anything that we create has to be easily, launched, should be easily launched in multiple languages globally, because our product is made in India, but for the global market, right? Our quality of content is very at the top, right? I mean, and the academic depth, the course coverage, everything that we bring from our content perspective is universal in nature. We actually don't say I do CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE. We say we do universal curriculum, because current market focus is math and science.
Then
it just makes it easier.
For you, the challenge is actually trying to give a balance of cultural nuances when you're producing.
Yes, Seth, exactly. So there is, when we got into GCC, the Middle East, there is some aspects where we have to bear in mind, where you can't, explain the human anatomy in a certain way to a section, because that's not allowed, culturally accepted. So there are those tweaks we have to do. But one good thing about our content is that, it is bite size. It's 5 to 7 minutes long. If you take from a video content perspective, it's 5 to 7 minutes long, and it is non-teacher led. So conversion from English to Hindi, English to Tamil, Gujarati, which is currently our main focus, and the effort is going on, because these are regional pockets where we see huge opportunities for us. And in Middle East, most of the opportunity is English, English content, but also there is Arabic, right? So for us, it is quite easy because it's on the editing mode. You don't have to render the frames again. It is much more on a voiceover level or a on-screen text level, right? So, and the bite-sized videos only help the teacher to actually consume at a teaching level, and also for a student to help at a revision and also the primary learning level, right? So our approach to content delivery is much more different. It is not to replace a teacher again, right? It is much more to complement what the teacher is doing or what the student has interest in, and then take it further from a video content to an AR to a simulation. All those experiences kind of seamlessly flow together.
Right. Okay. Now I come to the last section of our show. Here we will have rapid fire questions. So I expect you to give me quick, snap answers. One word or one line on your experience of lockdown.
I think max out working.
Charu?
I think it's a step function, right? It reminds me of the math step function in our journey as a company.
Arjun, for you?
Uncertain, but a positive outlook for future.
One skill that you have personally developed during this period?
Being nimble and quick to adapt.
Right. Thanks. Divya?
Digital intimacy.
Digital intimacy. Wow. Okay. Dur hai par paas hai, right? Okay.
I
Arjun?
think more for our teams.
Okay.
Even then customers with your own people. I think that has been.
Sure. Arjun?
So I learned to work from home. I think that's the skill I acquired.
So all the while you were telling people to learn from home, you figured out how to work, teach, and run the business from home.
I think to work with your technology and product team all from home with only infra level support that is limited with your highest surge ever. So I think to look into that and balance and ensure that the experience stays stable for all the consumers has been our biggest challenge.
So how do we get all the infrastructure that employees are actually utilizing to create all the product? How do we shift that back to their homes now rather than 100 people collaborating to bring one content alive?
What is the one course that you would like to now do online?
So my answer will be, I would like to take those products which will help me understand my customer better. So as and when I'm moving to more and more segments, I will do those courses.
You drank your own Kool-Aid. Okay.
Absolutely.
Divya, what course you would like to pick up, or if you did one?
Online consumer behavior. I think I would like to do that.
Okay. Charu, what course you'd like to do?
I think I would like to do a course on meditation just to get my sanity back. I think we all need to, but I think we've been, as Divya earlier mentioned, we've been working a lot. I think, I don't know, it's just the inefficiencies. We're trying to make up the efficiency with more number of hours. I don't know, but I see all of us, from the top to the ultimate bottom, working bonker hours, right? So.
I guess that's a cue for Arjun. You can have course on mental sanity, mental health.
For entrepreneurs specifically.
Yeah, you should do that for people running online businesses. I'll give you a course to ease out.
Jokes apart, you are right. We are contemplating the same. We are looking at it. Another one which is really picking up is online yoga, online medication, online mental health. All these things are really picking up. So we need to create a section where we create courses for entrepreneurs or for people who want to turn their hobby into something employable.
So if Upgrade competitors are watching, ET Catalyse told you first what's Upgrade up to. Thank you, everyone. We've had a lot of fun and learning today in the EdTech sector and this special episode of, ET Catalyse and EdTech. If education, technology, all can be entertainment, what better way to learn? Thanks, everyone. Our time was well spent. I hope yours too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you. Thanks, Deepak. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Deepak.
Whenever you watch these series, mail us or etcatalyse@timesinternet.in. You can watch all our past episodes and future episodes on etcatalyse.com.